What is it? Is it genetic? Is it cultural?
It's gotta be genetic. And then you have the Spanish thing that is just fucking nuts.
Nobody creates better podcast content than Joe Rogan, in our opinion. He's a prolific show producer, and his guests and discussions are consistently engaging. Joe's podcast guests reflect his wide range of interests. The discussions, however, are free to go wherever they want.
Sweet, the Saints get called.
Once
the Saints get called, you got a problem.
Regardless of the guest's connection to Joe or the industry they represent. While Joe is primarily a comedian, the recurring theme of deconstructing life has captivated us and kept me coming back for more. There are over 1,700 episodes of the Joe Rogan podcast available, and it can be difficult to get started. Joey Diaz is featured on the Joe Rogan Experience several times, and at one point they discuss their connection and what drew them together.
I don't mess with Spanish women. I just don't. I love them to death.
It's a friendship that has endured and grown stronger over time. Today, we've compiled a list of some of Joe Rogan's best moments with Joey Diaz. Jose Antonio Diaz, better known as Joey Coco Diaz, is a Cuban-American stand-up comedian, actor, and podcaster. After pursuing stand-up comedy full-time in Colorado and Seattle in 1991, Diaz returned to Los Angeles in 1995, where he began acting, landing roles in My Name is Earl, The Longest Yard, Spider-Man 2, Grudge Match, and The Many Saints of Newark. Diaz met comedian Felicia Michaels in 2009, who inspired him to co-host a new comedy podcast. Beauty and the Beast debuted in August 2010. Diaz told a story about lighting fire to a prostitute's wig when he was younger in an early episode. Attendance at Diaz's stand-up concert soared the weekend after it aired. After 113 episodes, the podcast came to an end in November 2012. Diaz began his own audio and video podcast.
This is what I'm saying! He ain't fucking around!
The Church of What's Happening Now on September 2, 2012, which he co-hosts with producer Lee Siat. Diaz named it after a remark said to him by his previous manager while he was selling vehicles in Boulder. The episodes were uploaded on YouTube, where they amassed over 500,000 subscribers. Diaz debuted Uncle Joey's Joint, a new podcast series, on October 5, 2020. Diaz rose to prominence in 2010 as a result of his performances on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast. Episode number 627. In our opinion, this is the Steady Eddie episode. Any episodes
It's just six people trying
starring Joey Diaz is bound to be hilarious, but this is our favorite.
coke, heroin.
We'd recommend listening to the entire podcast, but if you're short on time, make sure to check out the story with Fucked Up Freddy in the first half. Episode number 1000. Joe, Tom, and Joey begin the episode by discussing
She came over, started talking to me.
their experience with an earthquake. This one is surely a must-watch. Episode number 1072. Joe Rogan and Joey Diaz began the podcast by discussing Yoel Romero, Cuban and Russian MMA fighters, and the technical application of their abilities. Episode number 1190. Joey Diaz joins Joe Rogan on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast
No,
to promote
we know in New York City.
his Netflix special, The Degenerates. Episode number 1220. Joe Rogan and Joey Diaz begin the episode by discussing the government's secret monitoring. They then discuss the mafia and the organized crime in the building industry in New York and Las Vegas. Episode number 1319. Joey is one of Joe's closest friends and one of the world's funniest people.
Confused little young white dudes went down.
He's also a warm and caring individual who will go to great lengths for the people he cares about.
Lose my fucking mind.
Joey goes off on one of his typical rants, and the result is hilarious. Episode number 1448. Joey Diaz always drops interesting tidbits from his past, but if you want to get a
They've put it in there. Plus.
good introduction to Joey Diaz, this is a great episode for that as well. Joey Diaz is frequently referred to as the funniest person alive by Joe Rogan, so don't miss out. Episode number 1523. The three most hilarious people, Joe Rogan, Joey Diaz, and Brian Redman, are together in this episode. You should definitely watch this one.
The hit Magnolia, the Federal.
With that, we come to the end of today's video. Do let us know your views on this video in the comments section below. We hope you enjoyed watching the video. If you did, then do leave a like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. See you in the next one.